Right, today we got the Pig War, which is by OverSimplified. I have no clue what the Pig War is, never even heard of it, so this is going to be really interesting. I'm looking forward to learning about what this war was about and what happened, so yeah, let's go.
Look at us, boys. We've only gone and bloody done it.
I don't even know what time period this is.
Independence. Now to expand westward and conquer the rest of the continent. Thomas? It looks like a bunch of different people already live out west.
Oh no, that means we can't expand.
Is this after the Cold War?
I hate my life.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I didn't say they were white people.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. Right, okay, so I'm pretty much assuming, yeah,
when the United States secured its independence from Great Britain, the two sides met in Paris to settle the terms. Among various things, they discussed American territorial gains, and the British granted them a generous amount of land out west. However, Benjamin Franklin appeared to have an additional fascination. Oh
wait, no, my bad. It's not the Cold War, right? It's I forgot. I've already forgot what it was called, the Revolution or something like that. But it's where the UK was pretty much holding all of the east of America, and then they got it back from them and stuff. So I kind of know the timeline where we're at right now with the Pig Wars.
Canada, so voluptuous. You think we can maybe acquire some of that? Quit ogling our territory. But look at those curves. I'd worry less about Canada's curves and more about your own curves, Benjamin. Many in America suggested that one day, the Canadian colonies should become a part of the United States. In response, Britain suggested that many in America should shut the hell up. Well, if Britain wasn't going to give up Canada, then the two sides had to agree on where to put their border. Easy enough for the most part. Follow some existing borders, add in a few rivers and lakes, maybe even a parallel for good measure. But then there was a question. What would happen here? Straight line, straight line. And so it was. The border would go from the northwesternmost point of this perfectly oval-shaped lake and continue in a straight line westward until it met the Mississippi River. Perfect. Or was it? Well, as it turned out, the lake didn't actually look like this, but like this. And the Mississippi wasn't here, but here. So in the end, none of that made even the slightest bit of sense. Don't blame the founding fathers. They were just using the best map available. Blame the guy who made it. But to the minds of the day, the issue had been solved, and it was finally time to start getting along. Oh, back to war they go. The glorious war of 1812.
Why is it called the Pig War, though?
Tried to invade Canada, and the British burned down the White House. But when all was said and done, it was pretty much a draw. And once again, America and Britain had to enter into peace negotiations. By now, both sides realized the original border they came up with was a piece of hot garbage. And since America had also recently obtained a huge amount of land from Napoleon, they decided they would need to re-examine the border issue. Straight line, straight line. And so it was.
Of course.
To fix the problems of the previous border agreement,
Straight line, the border!
From the northwesternmost point of this lake, as had been previously agreed, down to the 49th parallel, and from there the line would go straight as an arrow up until the Rocky Mountains. But beyond the Rockies, the two sides couldn't quite agree on where it would go next, because both sides claimed the territory beyond the Rockies was theirs. See, throughout its early history, America as a nation had its eyes heavily fixated on all that juicy land out west, ripe for invasion. I mean, settlementation. America wanted to expand. Not only was it their right, some believed it was a destiny given to them by God himself to multiply and spread across the continent, like rats or disease. Okay guys, just before we take over everything, God definitely said this is what we're meant to do, right? Yeah, that's what he said, right? Isn't that what he said? And who was it who spoke to God? It was Billy, right? I thought it was Sharon's cat. I hear voices all the time. Well, it was one of us.
Did someone just say it was a cat?
To justify a ruthless collective imperialist tendencies. All right. Well, in that case, let's get out there and make the world a better place, just as God intended. This belief in divinely destined expansion would later be given its very own name. Manifest Destiny. But America wasn't the only one interested in controlling the Western territories. At the time, Canada was made up of a number of colonies, collectively referred to as British North America. This one over here was owned by the Hudson's Bay Company, a British charter company dedicated to turning as many beavers as possible into as many felt hats as possible as quickly as possible. And the indigenous
poor
people
beavers!
became a key supplier. As a result, the British
Bless
were also
them, man.
eager to control the land out west and secure that region's valuable resources, and in particular, the Great Columbia River was deemed vital to the beaver business. So when it came to the question of what would happen to the border beyond
They
the
needed
Rockies, the conversation went a little like this. The line should keep going straight because we're manifestly destined to gain the entire North American continent. No, we need this river so we can keep scalping beavers. Look, why don't we just draw the border along the river? That way we both have access to it. Well, that would be a completely fair compromise that protects the interests of both parties. And there's no way I'm ever going to agree to it! Having come to a roadblock, both sides simply agreed that for now, they would jointly occupy the Northwestern Territory. They were both free to settle and trade there. But rest assured, the agreement was only temporary. Eventually somebody would get their way. Listen, Yank, we can jointly occupy this land, but I ain't sharing anything else. I don't want to see you using my toothbrush. I don't want to catch you wearing my underwear. And I don't want to catch you using my computer and selling my data to advertisers. Well, then you, my friend,
Here we go.
should use NordVPN.
I knew it. I knew it.
And that's why I introduce licenses to mankind. With no desired eyes.
It's probably the best advert like within a video I've seen.
So why not go to nordvpn.com/
He fits it in so perfectly.
A 2-year plan with a huge discount. So thank you. Now where were we? Oh yeah. Bickering over boundaries, manifesting destiny, and a joint.
Bro, there's a McDonald's in the background.
And one man living here who felt the territory should be British was James Douglas, the Hudson's Bay Company's no-nonsense chief factor at Fort Vancouver. Ah, what a beautiful, unspoiled corner of the British Empire. I've got my spotted dick.
Oh, everything's so pretty.
And an unrelenting negative outlook on life that affects everyone around me.
What are you looking at, Steven?
Yes, truly British. What the?
Wait, when does obviously McDonald's wasn't around at this time, but when did McDonald's like first? When was it first made? Does anyone know? Like when was McDonald's like? When was the first McDonald's? To be fair, I should know that because I watched the I forgot what it's called now, but I watched a movie on it and it was really interesting.
Like Douglas was that many Americans.
It was such a good movie.
Streaming up the Oregon
it was like
Trail.
1960s. I can't remember.
By the thousands, they were pouring into the Oregon Territory in search of land to settle and farm. This, however, crowded out the fur trade, and eventually, a very bitter Douglas and the other Hudson's Bay traders at Fort
They're
Vancouver
really fighting over this land just for beavers.
north to a new base of operations. But the Americans keep coming and they don't stop coming. Hopped in their wagons and they hit the ground running. Didn't make sense to keep sharing Oregon when they outnumbered the Brits more than 6-1. And suddenly, the whole joint occupation deal was being called into question. Newly elected President Polk maintained that America had an obvious claim to the entire region, even implying a possible war with Britain. Fiery language from U.S. senators declared that American rifles would annihilate the Hudson's Bay Company in Oregon, and America even gave Britain notice that it was pulling out of the joint occupation agreement. The British were alarmed as the two sides stood on the brink of war. But in the end, neither truly wanted to fight.
But why is it called the Pig War? Like the fight over it should be like the Beaver War, right? Why is it the Pig War?
The British favored maintaining
I don't get it.
relations, while the
Why
Americans
pig?
had already gotten themselves into a war with Mexico. So after a bit of back and forth, the British finally said, "Fine, you wanted a straight line? There's your straight line." And so, the agreement was made. The border would continue
They've lost
directly
the lake,
to the
though.
Strait of Georgia. But because the British insisted they keep Vancouver Island, it would then move south through the center of the channel and on to the Pacific Ocean. Finally, the issue of the northwest border had been solved. Hold the phone. Discrepancy detected. Enhance frame, 200%. Enhance. Enhance. Nope. Perfect. Now, show me the exact wording of the treaty. The line of boundary goes to the middle of the channel, and thence southerly through the middle of said channel? But there's loads of channels. So, you tell me, dear viewer, which channel is the treaty referring to? And therefore, who owns these islands?
Oh.
Is the wording of the treaty maybe a little too vague? Well, that's exactly the problem encountered by the people living in the area. The British insisted that the channel intended by the treaty was the Rosario Strait, and therefore the islands were British. The Americans, on the other hand, argued that the intended channel was the Harrow Strait, and therefore, the islands were American. At times, the debate became rather heated. Even the individuals who negotiated and signed the treaty at times didn't seem entirely sure which channel the treaty meant, and representatives from the Hudson's Bay Company begged them to make it clearer. But thousands of miles away, the people in power simply had more to worry about than some tiny islands in the middle of nowhere.
Order! Order! Shut up!
All right, listen up. We got a lot to get through. The 7th Earl of Chissingham says he encountered a foul beast in the fields of Upper Fardingdom late last night and put this sketch together? That's a poor person, Darren. Ugh. Next, Lord Piddlingham says he has a new mole on his backside? How is that parliamentary business, George? Oh.
So important.
The Pacific Northwest are in dispute and could lead to a war with America? Boring. Fine. Let's take a look at that mole, George.
What the fuck?
And so, for now, the islands were simply held in dispute.
Bro.
Were they British or were they American?
To be fair, they did. Well, OverSimplified said this anyway. When they said that they just wanted Vancouver Island, right? So pretty much the treaty was just this line right here, surely. If they just wanted the island.
Won't cause anyone to die. And one man who thought the islands were undeniably British was James Douglas, now the governor of Vancouver Island. He had already once had American settlers encroach on his territory and force him to move. And by golly, he wasn't going to let it happen again. As far as he was concerned, those islands were not only British, but prime agricultural land. And given the chance, those glubby Yanks wouldn't hesitate to start pitching flags with their glubby little hands. And so, he came up with a plan. If the British settled the islands first, then that would surely secure them for Britain. And so in 1853, Douglas sent an Irishman by the name of Charles Griffin, along with some Hawaiian shepherds, to go set up a sheep farm on San Juan Island. And set up a sheep farm they did. The place was rammed with...
Is this what we're doing? Are they going to put pigs on the island and there we are, the pig war?
1,360.
Is that where we're going?
But within those flocks of woolly cowards could also be found a number of beautiful, prized Berkshire pigs.
Pigs!
Oh, Porky, you look stunning. You're the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
Hey, why is this called pig war then? What happens with the pigs?
The island bowl together tonight? Oink once for no. Roll around in that cow crap if yes.
Yes! I'm covered in poo and I'm the luckiest man alive!
But life on the island for Charles Griffin wasn't to be a perfect paradise of pig pageants. Because unfortunately for him, the Americans also believed the island was theirs. One day, in 1854, an American customs collector was sailing around the islands on the outlook for bands of native tribesmen when he spotted something. Aha! I've got you now, you savages. Over yonder. Those are sheep, sir. Sheep, you say? What are they doing here? Let's go and negotiate with them. Negotiate with sheep? Are you crazy?
I'm perfectly stable, you rat bag! Call me crazy again and I'll eat your eyes!
Hello, good sir. We request to speak with your leader. Out of my way. Allow me to parley with this foul beast. Hey, stop!
True story, by the way.
Sheep.
True story.
Your sheep? You mean to tell me that you, a British subject, have illegally imported these sheep into American territory? I'll have you know that you, an American, are currently trespassing on British territory. The Americans felt that they were entitled to collect taxes on the British property, you know, because the island was American, and they threatened seizure if dues weren't paid. The British, meanwhile, threatened to arrest the Americans, you know, because the island was British, and the two sides were in a standoff. To give Charles Griffin the legal power to deal with the American trespassers, Douglas said, hey, put on this wig. Boom, you're a magistrate now. And in turn, Griffin went to one of his Hawaiian shepherds and said, hey, I'm making you a constable. Put on this badge. The British then went off to arrest the U.S. Customs Inspector. But, being an American, he emerged from his tent with 4 pistols and a giant knife, so the Brits had to back down. Eventually,
Bro, why did the Brits not have guns? Like, what?
Northern tribes chased the U.S. officer from the island, but the Americans weren't done yet. Officials from nearby Whatcom County in Washington Territory believed the island fell under their jurisdiction, and they decided it was time to make the British pay up once and for all. They sent one Sheriff Barnes to go confront Charles Griffin. Hey, you owe us $80.33 for all this farm stuff you got here. Go suck an egg! Oh, I see. So that's how it is, huh? That's how it's gonna be, is it? That's the way in which things are, eh? That be how it will.
Is he okay?
Will it be how that is, huh? That be the way in which things be the way they are, is that? Get off my property! So the sheriff and other Whatcom County officials felt they were now well within their rights to seize and auction off Griffin's sheep in order to recoup lost taxes. And who would they auction these prized breeding rams off to? But themselves. Then, in a pretty chaotic
Was there
scene, they
anybody
walked
on
to
the
tie
islands
rams to their
before or
boats.
no? Was it
And when
just
Charles
empty
Griffin
islands?
came running to rescue his kidnapped sheep. Being Americans, they pulled out guns on him, and he had to back down. In all, Charles Griffin lost 34 breeding rams, and he was...
I don't understand it. Why does he not, like, he's on the island first, right? So anybody invading the island is at a disadvantage. Why does he not have any guns? Or why did if the British wanted to claim the islands, why did they not give him any guns or any guards or anything?
Furious. The British complained to the American government, who were shocked to hear what had been going on at their northwest border. And both governments told their officials in the area to back off. We're not trying to start a major war over some dumb sheep and a stupid island.
Oh, okay. So all right. Okay, I get it. The governments aren't involved with this. Obviously, they're not supplying them any guns or anything because it's just like their companies, like his farming company or whatever, and then they just wanna tax them or something.
But also, the islands are definitely ours. Under no circumstances let the other side have them. For now, both governments agreed to set up yet another boundary commission to decide which channel was the correct border.
Just half it.
It often devolved
Half
into
it.
petty bickering. The British did make one interesting suggestion, though. We could draw the border through this middle channel and split the islands between us.
Yeah,
well,
perfect.
that would be a completely fair compromise that protects the interests of both parties. And there's no way I'm ever going to agree to it! And in the aftermath of the sheep raid, James Douglas, still stationed at Fort Victoria, became even more cautious of American encroachment into his territory. Mr. Douglas, sir, it appears an Indian has discovered gold in the Fraser Canyon, just north of here. Shut up! Keep your voice down, boy. We can't risk those glubby Americans hearing about this, or our territory here will be infested with them. Oh no!
I'm waiting for the McDonald's. Oh wait, never mind. There's no McDonald's this time.
The Fraser Canyon gold rush attracted a heap of Americans to the region. Some got lucky. Most did not. And of those that didn't, rather than returning all the way home, many simply decided to settle in the area. And in particular, the juicy green pastures of San Juan Island were rather appealing. Believing the island was American territory, around a dozen American settlers moved there in the late 1850s. One of them was a man named Lyman Cutler, a young man in his mid-20s, and lazy as pie. He didn't want to have to clear a space in the forest to build his home, so he said, I'll just build my cabin right in the middle of this British sheep run. I'm sure that won't make anyone mad. When he planted potato seeds in his garden, rather than building a nice protective fence around them, he said, I'll just fence in 3 sides and hope all these British farm animals have a moral compass and respect my property rights. Griffin's pig was a Berkshire, well known for rooting, and Lyman's fairly pathetic fence made for a bad combination. Numerous times he had to chase the pig away from his property, and he once angrily marched up to Griffin's home, saying, Hey, British farm idiot, keep your stupid pig out of my potatoes. It is up to you to keep your potatoes out of my pig. Griffin was furious.
He really said that.
Neighbors. They built their
He's got a
homes all
point
over
though.
his
Why
sheep
you just leave it like the
And
fence
besides,
off the front?
What right did they have to be here anyway? It was British territory. Lyman, on the other hand, swore the local government had assured him his land claims were legitimate, and so to him, the British were out of line. Look at that sick freak. In love with his pig. Isn't that just sick? Yeah,
Is it just one pig?
Freak. Not like our love,
Like a
Spuddy.
pet pig or
Ours is
something? Like
all
what's going on
natural.
with this pig?
Yep, just a man and his potato. Nothing wrong with that. But the tension between Lyman and Griffin was just about to explode. What the? Spuddy? Oh, right,
Wait,
you
oh
damn
no.
dirty pig. That's the
Uh-oh.
final straw.
Okay. Right.
Lyman
This starts the war.
shot the pig. After taking a second to calm down, he felt bad about murdering Griffin's prized boar. So he went to him and said, Hey man, look, I kinda just killed your pig. It was eating my potatoes again, and I don't know, man, I just I kinda just killed your pig. Killed your pig.
Bro, there's no way there's a war over killing a pig. Oh shit. No. Oh, I feel so sad. Bless the pig.
You swine!
Alright, does he finally have a gun?
No, the swine is the one I killed. I'm Lyman. Griffin demanded Lyman pay $100 for the loss of the pig, an outrageous sum at the time. Obviously, Lyman refused, threatening to shoot any more animals that dared enter his property, even threatening to shoot Griffin himself. When Griffin complained to James Douglas, British officials went and confronted the pig killer. Again, they insisted he pay up, and if he didn't, Lyman claimed they threatened to arrest him and take him back to Victoria. British officials arresting an American on American soil and trying him under British law? Now that's controversial. And it's a controversy that attracted the attention of an American general in charge of the Department of Oregon, one William S. Harney. This guy, General Harney, had a reputation. He's the kind of guy who invades Mexico without orders, wasting valuable resources and creating an embarrassing situation for everyone involved. He's the kind of guy who has one of his own men arrested for writing the wrong header on a report. He's the kind of guy who finds a dog digging up his yard and then chases it for 1.5 miles just to give it a beating.
That kind of guy.
He hated superiors, hated being told what to do, and had been court-martialed 4 times for disobeying orders. Contemporaries described him as an imbecile, all matter and no mind, an arrogant humbug, and a laughingstock. Like I said, General Harney had a reputation. He hated the British and was out for any opportunity to earn personal glory for himself. By some accounts, he even wanted to become president. And so, in July 1859, when he happened to visit San Juan Island, and he learned of the plight of the Americans living there, the shooting of a pig, and the British threat to arrest Lyman Cutler, General Harney went into scheme mode. Hey yo, Captain Pickett. Yes sir, listen carefully. I need you to go pick up some flowers and bring them to my place later. I've got a plan. Here I am, sir. What's the plan? Pickett, you and I are going to start a war. What do you mean, sir? Okay, listen up. An American man shoots a worthless pig on San Juan Island, and the British threaten to arrest him. Outrageous, but we can use it. We get the settlers there to send us a petition saying they need American troops for protection. That's when you go with your men and occupy the island. The British will find American troops on an island they consider theirs so offensive, they won't hesitate to blow you to smithereens. Then, it's war. We bring in reinforcements and we fight back. I'll write to Washington, D.C., letting them know what's happening. But here's the kicker. My letter will take 6 whole weeks to get there, before the government even gets a chance to respond, telling me I'm an idiot and ordering me to cease fire. The island will be ours. Hell, we could even invade Vancouver Island or British Columbia. It's foolproof.
Oh,
Wow,
shit,
very
this guy.
impressive, sir. But
I see why he's got his reputation.
Well, I'll level with you, Pickett. Historians still contest exactly what it is I'm trying to do here. It's possible I'm trying to expand America's territory. Maybe I'm trying to play the hero so I can become president. Some have even suggested that since I'm a slave-owning Southerner, I may be trying to create a diversion to help the South secede in the upcoming Civil War. But if there's one thing that almost everyone can agree on, it's that I'm an idiot. I see. But hold on, what'd you tell me to bring flowers for? Because, Pickett, they're pretty and I like them! There are also historians who believe that Harney and Pickett had no secret plan at all, and were not scheming masterminds, but simply hot-headed buffoons, genuinely outraged at the audacity
Just
of
want
the
war.
British,
They
and
just
trying
want
to
war.
protect
That's it.
American citizens. But the fact of the matter is, Pickett took the very controversial and extremely provocative act of landing American troops on disputed territory. He set up his camp in a very exposed position and erected a very provocative sign proclaiming that only American laws applied on the island. It was almost like he was asking to be fired upon. Or, again, maybe he was just an idiot. When a British official sent to the island to get rid of the unruly American settlers now saw that there were American troops, he demanded they leave. He was obviously told to go suck an egg. When Douglas found out,
did they
he
actually
was
all wear
enraged.
those hats from
To him,
Beavers?
the American landing constituted an invasion. Harney sent a report back to the War Department in D.C., justifying his actions with exaggerated claims of British villainy. But he knew it would take 6 weeks to get there, and another 6 weeks for their reply to come back. For now,
Plenty
the
of time for an
situation was
invasion.
entirely in the hands of local military and government officials, and the ball was in the British court. Would the temperamental Governor Douglas and the powerful British Navy respond to the American provocation with force?
It really
Were
took
Britain
6
and America
weeks to get there
really
and get
about to
back.
go to war over the shooting
Wow.
of a pig? Well, if one man were to have his way, it's entirely possible they would.
Bro, a whole
James
war
Douglas
over a
had
pig.
already
This
had
is
Americans
nuts.
force him out of Oregon. They had threatened his position in Victoria during the gold rush. Now they had invaded his island, and he had had it. It was time to turn
He's had
to
enough.
the Royal Navy. You, Captain Hornby, go to the island and prevent any more Americans from landing. And take this magistrate with you to arrest Captain Pickett. Use force if necessary. Just don't do anything to start a war. Wait, you want me to use force but not start a war? Oh, I'm sorry. Is that too much to ask, princess? When Captain Hornby got to the island and saw that the American force there was even larger than expected, his concern grew. He sent word back to Douglas, who in response ordered even more ships to the island. And at this point, the naval officers were like, hey man, let's talk. They were concerned Douglas's escalation was leading them to war, and they convinced him it probably wasn't a terribly good idea to just go up to an American military captain with his armed men and say, hey bucko, you're under arrest. Please don't shoot me. Douglas
Yeah, that's probably
gave
bad.
in. To prevent any hostilities, he canceled all orders and told the Navy, for now, to simply keep an eye on the Americans. He did send one more ship for good measure. Captain Pickett, now seeing the British ships with their guns aimed directly at his exposed camp, said, see Jeff, look at that. We're about to get blown to bits, all according to plan. Hang on.
Oh crap, Jeff, we're about to get blown to bits! Run!
Pickett hastily moved his camp from its very exposed position to another position, which, as it happened, was also very exposed. It probably won't surprise you to learn Pickett came dead last in his graduating class.
No
Nearby
surprise.
American and British officials began showing up to ask Pickett what the heck he was even doing. Then, a bunch of tourists showed up, because a major war breaking out in their doorstep was the single most exciting thing to ever happen in any of their miserable frontier lives. One Charles Griffin was particularly unhappy. First, his pig had been shot. Now his sheep pastures were being trampled by soldiers and tourists alike. He complained to Governor Douglas, who was still pretty upset about the whole thing. Douglas felt British honor itself was at stake, so he decided that if American forces were allowed to be on the island, well then by golly, the British should be there too. It would be a
How did
joint
it not-
military occupation.
What?
Upon hearing Douglas's new plan to land British troops on the island, Captain Hornby decided to go speak with Pickett in person. After informing him of the plan,
How
Pickett
did no
replied
one
that if they
shoot
dared
anyone?
land, he would open fire.
Aye.
So there they were. The British had orders to
There we
land.
go.
The Americans had orders to prevent their landing. This was it. War. Over a small island in the middle of nowhere. Over a pig and some potatoes. Over whether the US-Canada
Oh
border
my
looked
God.
like this or like this. It was stupid. Hold on. This is stupid. To heck with it. I'm not landing those troops. I'm not gonna be the one who starts a war. The captain decided not to follow Douglas's order. And good thing he didn't, because pretty soon after that, the leading British admiral in the entire Pacific region showed up. Rear Admiral Baines outranked Governor Douglas. When he heard of everything that had been going on, he was stunned. But when he heard that Hornby had refused Douglas's plan to land troops, Baines could have kissed him. Whether he did or not, history doesn't tell. But I like to think they did.
There's got to
The
be a
Rear
war
Admiral
though,
canceled
otherwise
all
this
of Douglas's orders
video is
and instead
pointless.
pursued a policy of not interfering with the Americans until he could contact the British government. The Americans, not knowing the British no longer intended to land, had sent reinforcements and began fortifying. But even still, the British Navy did nothing. And finally, when word made it across the planet, informing the two governments of the ongoing crisis, everyone was shocked. Holy crap! Harney landed troops on disputed territory? Man, I hope the British don't find out about this. Buchanan? Oh crap! The British! Why are we getting reports of American troops on San Juan Island? Whoa, 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 whoa. I don't know, man. Nothing to do with me. You're the president. What? Breckenridge? Am I the president? Yes, sir. And hey, we got a problem. It looks like the southern states are considering seceding, and we're headed for the biggest crisis in the history of the nation. And it's your job to fix it, sir. Sir? Oh no.
Go away.
Not the curtain again, Mr. President.
I'm not here.
Buchanan. Back in the Pacific Northwest, Harney was beginning to realize the government may not be terribly impressed with his reckless actions. So he began
The
firing
islands
off
are so
even
small
more
as
aggressive
well.
letters, justifying what he had done. Tell him the British were sending bands of Indians to attack our men, and that they're big meanies with coal for hearts, and that they made me cry like a little girl. Wait, no, that makes me sound weak.
Is he just
They
lying?
made me cry like a big girl. Yeah, that's it. When the
Bro,
president
this is so
received Harney's new
stupid.
letters, his anxiety only grew stronger. Oh, crap. Hey, General Scott, please make this go away. Leave it to me, sir. General Winfield Scott was the commanding general of the entire U.S. Army. Well known for his negotiation skills, he was a veteran of the Mexican-American War, during which time he had had to deal with General Harney's idiocy and insubordination. And he watched as Harney got away with it all, thanks to his friends in high places. It's safe to say that Scott really did not like General Harney. By now, General Scott was racked with
I wonder
gout,
why.
and he was so big, he had to be hoisted onto his ship in a basket. Nevertheless, he began the long journey to the Pacific Northwest. Okay, everyone, get over here. Will somebody please tell me what the heck is going on? I'll tell you, General. It all started on one fateful day last summer. Spuddy? All right, you damn dirty pig. That's the final straw. What? Hey, you can't get away from me! Oh, look at that pig. Nowhere left to run, eh? I'm gonna enjoy this.
Lyman, if you spare my life, I grant you 3 wishes.
Okay.
So you see,
Okay.
General, the pig wasn't even on his property when he shot it. Liar! He's lying to you, General. I'll tell you what really happened. What a pleasant summer's afternoon here on my humble farm. It's just me and my beloved potatoes. I'm so happy. Say, Lyman, them some nice spuds you got there. Would be a shame if somebody ate them. No, not again, you beast! Leave my potatoes alone! Yeah, I'm gonna eat them, Lyman. I'll eat them, and then I'm gonna eat you. Stay back! I'll shoot!
Bro,
Go
what
ahead,
am I
punk.
watching right now?
Make my day. Shoot
How am I
me.
watching a video
Shoot me!
about a war from a pig?
He made me do it.
What am I seeing?
He made me do it.
So you're telling me you guys nearly started a war with the strongest naval power in the world over the shooting of a pig? Yeah, now he's starting to get it. Not only the pig, sir. The British then threatened to arrest this poor, pure American soul. Thank you, General. Shut up. I don't care about you. Okay. I've made up my mind. You're an idiot. 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 You guys are fine. And you two are the most mind-numbingly brain-dead ding-dongs I've ever encountered in all my life, and I'll see you in my office. Okay, Harney, listen. I cut a deal with the Brits. Here's how it's gonna be. Both sides will maintain a small force on the island for a joint military occupation until our two governments can decide who owns the island. Now, the only way they'd agree to that is if Pickett is removed from command, so I'm replacing him with Captain Hunt here. Now, Harney, listen to me. Do not, under any circumstances, put Pickett back on that island, okay? I mean it, Harney. Do not order Pickett back onto the island.
He's definitely
Understood?
putting Pickett back on
Yes,
the
sir.
island.
Good. I'll see you, Glebos, later.
100%.
Is he gone? I think so. Good. Hunt, you're fired. Pickett, you're going back on the island. All right, you psychopath. I've been waiting years for this. I hate you. I've always hated you. Harney had not only ordered
What
Pickett
about-
back onto
oh,
the island,
God.
but his department even notified the British that it did not recognize the joint occupation settlement, while everyone else had decided on peace.
What am I
Harney
watching?
appeared to still be threatening war. Needless to say, a furious Winfield Scott soon removed him from command and sent him elsewhere. In Harney's absence, the joint occupation went ahead, and the troops actually got along together quite well. The British attended 4th of July celebrations at the American camp, while the Americans visited the British for Queen Victoria's birthday. Even Pickett became good friends with his British counterpart. War, it seemed, had been avoided, thanks largely to the level-headed actions of the Royal Navy and General Winfield Scott. Of course, the islands were still in dispute, and the question of who exactly owned them.
I don't see why they just don't half the islands.
Would have to wait, because while San Juan was at peace, the nation was tearing itself apart. When civil war broke out in 1861, the issue of San Juan just...
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, like I said at the start, the American Revolution, then the Civil War afterwards.
Wasn't that important. Harney, despite being a Southerner, remained in the U.S. Army, but was eventually removed from command at St. Louis when his loyalty to the Union came under suspicion. More famously, Captain Pickett, a native Virginian, went on to become a Confederate general. Pickett's charge at the Battle of Gettysburg remains one of the most famous moments of the entire war and marked a major turning point. U.S. relations with Britain actually soured during the war. The British, missing their supply of southern cotton, initially looked like they may intervene on the side of the Confederacy. There was the Trent Affair, when Confederate diplomats were discovered and arrested on a British mail steamer. And then there were the British-built ships, sold to the Confederacy, that wreaked havoc on northern commerce. When the Civil War ended, furious American politicians called on the British to pay reparations. And by now, a long list of hot issues existed between them. And yes, on that list remained, 12 years later, still the issue of who owned these gosh darn islands. That issue, it was finally agreed, would be submitted to international arbitration. The Empire of Germany would decide, with the British and Americans presenting arguments. The American argument was reportedly presented with a little more pizzazz, a little more zing. And in the end, when the Germans made their decision,
who got them?
They awarded the San Juan Islands to the United States. When an aging Douglas heard the news, he said that there was no possible way the British argument had been presented correctly. But that was that. The British conceded, and on the 25th of November, 1872, the last British troops left the island. As the Americans entered the British camp to raise their flag, they found that the British had removed the flagpole. One last up yours to Uncle Sam. By this time, Charles Griffin had already left the island, and the Hudson's Bay Company eventually sold their sheep farm.
Oh
and
my
so,
God.
There you have it. A dangerous situation that almost brought two great powers to war, triggered by the shooting of a pig. But thanks to more level-headed minds and an eagerness for peace and cooperation, conflict was avoided, and the only casualty of this pig war was, well, just a pig. But how different could things have been? What if the British had attempted to arrest Pickett? What if they had landed
I
troops?
actually can't
Could
believe
the two sides have actually
what this
gone
video
to war?
is.
Could America have invaded Canada? Could it perhaps still invade Canada? Think about it. Why not? We have the manpower. We have the arms. It's our manifest destiny.
Oh
Picture
God.
a future.
Don't
where
give him
American
ideas.
Mounties wear red, white, and blue, and hail the stars and stripes. Where Wayne Gretzky would wave the American
He's
flag
getting carried
every 4th
away
of
now.
July in the
He's getting
streets
carried
of
away.
Montreal. Maple syrup, the greatest American food. Banff, the greatest American national park. One united nation under the leadership of our glorious president, Drake. No longer shall we tolerate our smug neighbors to the north with their affordable insulin and endless comments.
This is probably like the most like entertaining comedic funny I've seen from OverSimplified.
Right, Canadians, watch your backs. Sleep with one eye open tonight, because Biden's coming, baby. And this time, he's coming with a vengeance.
Okay. Well, that was a pretty fun video. That was pretty fun. A war nearly breaking out over a pig. Yeah. It was a little bit less serious than the other ones that we've seen, the actual wars. So, yeah, I can't believe I just watched 40 minutes of watching what could have happened over someone shooting a pig from eating potatoes. It was another great video about OverSimplified. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you do leave a thumbs up. Let me know if you want me to get to any videos down in the comments. Just link the videos or tell me the tile names and I'll get to them and I'll react to them. Hopefully you guys do enjoy, and if you do want to watch more videos I'm posting daily, make sure you do subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.